Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so this morning, the women who were victims of sex crimes by Jeffrey Epstein and those in Jeffrey Epstein's orbit, some of them spoke out today on the steps of Capitol Hill. This was organized by Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna from California. Thomas Massey is a Republican House member from Kentucky. Okay. It was a 2-hour news conference where multiple women talked. One said she was forced to recruit teenage girls from school, was paid for every girl that she found. Others said they were duped into jobs as teenage masseuses and then abused. When asked, one of the reporters was asking why they just don't come forward with the names. It was mentioned that the survivors came forward with names before and nobody protected them. Let's see if I can find that quote here. Sorry, I can't find it at the moment. One interesting part about this was the survivors announced that actually the lawyers for the survivors were saying there's no Epstein list that they know of. But the survivors said they will put together a list because they know who the Johns are. They know who's abused them, and they would put together a list to protect other survivors. Is this about the women bringing down Trump and powerful men just like him? What else was happening? Donald Trump, of course, when asked about this while the women were testifying, said it was a Democratic hoax. When the women up there were asked if Donald Trump was involved, the lawyer cut in and basically said, hey, we're not trying to turn this into anything political. We just want the Department of Justice to release all the Epstein files. So Trump, by saying it's a Democratic hoax, is saying it's political. And the survivors said it's not political. We don't care about the politics. We just want all the information released. And there is this narrative going around that the survivors don't want it released because their names might be out there. And the survivors said, hey, redact our names and put it all out there. We all want this information released. So this was a counter-Republican narrative trying to say we don't want to release it because the children. And the children are saying, don't let us slow you down, pal. We want this out there too. What else do we have in here? Again, one of the questions why the girls didn't out people, they said one of the reasons that there was a 8x10 picture of Trump and Epstein on his desk. And Epstein basically knew Trump, and they've seen what Trump will do to people who speak out against him. And they're very fearful of retaliation. Even if it's not like, hitmen coming to get them type stuff, it would be, these are wealthy, powerful men who will immediately sue him for defamation or slander if it's written print, bring him to court and bankrupt him, because that's what they can do. So that's why these women have had to band together with lawmakers and other lawyers to basically represent them to get the truth out there. Interesting was the occasional flyover of jets causing the women to pause in their testimony until the noise of the jet engines was low enough for them to speak again. Don't think that was a coincidence. That was absolutely done to intimidate, to interrupt and intimidate. I don't have any doubts in my mind about that. But when I read on this, it was interesting. I read on this yesterday, and I uploaded it yesterday afternoon, the early part of the afternoon. And it was supposed to go up at midnight last night. And this is the second time it's happened to me where my reading, which was supposed to go up at midnight, didn't go out until 7 in the morning Pacific time. I don't know why. I didn't click 7. When I click the schedule, the default is a date and the time is midnight. And then you have to move up a little wheel to get it to be 7 a.m. And it takes no small amount of effort to do that. And so it's not like I just accidentally, punch the number 700 in there. That didn't happen. So I don't know what's going on, but whatever. It came out at 7 in the morning, which is at least still right around the time they actually started talking. So I want to read on the energy post interview. On yesterday's reading, you'll recall I was asking, will their testimony make a difference? And I got the death card, and I wasn't sure if they would get enough votes to get it through for the bypass. But the cards underneath it were such incredibly powerful major arcana that I thought that they would still get their message through, even if it doesn't happen this time around. I want to read on the energy of their testimony and the impact it had on basically the whole energy around the Epstein case, which we're now all talking about again. So, Mike Johnson tried to bury this thing. Give it a month, give it 6 weeks, and nobody will be talking about it anymore. Nope. We're all talking about it again. So come on down. For the entertainment purposes only, let's take a look at the energy around the victim's testimony and its impact on the Epstein files, this case, and the zeitgeist. Foundation of the reading is the 4 of Coins. Holding it together. I will say this, the testimony I did see, and I did watch probably about 40 or 45 minutes of it. The women were very composed. They explained why they didn't release some information, and the explanations were plausible. Rich, powerful men will bankrupt us. We tried talking about this before, and they went after us, and nobody protected us. So they have to be a bit more cagey this time with this. This could also be, now those on the list are going to start to be really nervous. Justice card and the Hermit. Oh, wow. I also think this means that the money that for people were involved, let the cover-ups begin. That whether it's destroying documents or trying to come up with a story or retreating like that, justice is going to be coming. No amount of money is going to protect you when justice comes looking for you. How about that? How about that for a really simple interpretation of how things change with the testimony today? In the past, the 7 of Coins. Whereas before, in the past, people did this really happen? Can we really believe it? Is this really this wealthy cabal of oligarchs, sex trafficking girls, and doing all this stuff? Yes. The evidence is there. And all the evidence is in the Epstein reports. Current situation is the High Priestess. And, like I said, all the evidence is in the Epstein reports. And there is a call to release them, and I think that call is gaining momentum. Did you see or hear about Nancy Mace's reaction to this? Now, Nancy Mace she's a big Trump supporter, but she's been rather outspoken about the sexual abuse of women and declares herself a survivor of that. When she talked with the women here about the women's experience at the hands of Epstein, she reportedly had a panic attack and had to sort of calm things down and then left quickly. That to me would tell me that everything she heard from those women that suffered under Epstein resonated with Miss Mace. Now, this is assuming Miss Mace is true to her word and has been assaulted. She understands that these women have been assaulted too, because as she heard their stories, she started reliving hers. I don't see how she could vote against this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, spoke after, was one of the people that spoke with these women. And she said, I know these women are scared to reveal the names. If they write the names down for me, I will go on the floor of Congress and I will name every damn name on the list they provide to me. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene really is the type of person who has no ducks to give. She has no ducks, no quacking ducks to give when it comes to something like this or speaking her mind. Now, you could say don't trust Marjorie Taylor Greene. I get it's the same thing with Liz Cheney. Voted with Trump 97% of the time. I get it. But understand that just because you don't like the tool doesn't mean the tool is not useful in the right circumstances. Liz Cheney is an incredible bulldog and force of nature to getting things done and plowing through the BS. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like a crowbar. Not really good for hammering nails, not good for screwing in screws, terrible at trying to level a picture, but if you want to rip plywood off of wood framing, that's your girl right there. Tearing stuff down with demo? Yeah, a crowbar is an essential piece of equipment, but it's a specialized piece of equipment, and they should only be brought out for those specialized things. It feels weird to be on the same side as Marjorie Taylor Greene, but you could see where her strengths lie in something like this. Picture, if you will, if we had, if our Congress wasn't driven by Republican or Democratic ideologies, but ideologies of what's best for society. If we could get away from where we are now and get to the part where ideological for the society, what's best for our society becomes the number one priority, then the Marjorie Taylor Greenes actually have a place there in that Congress. Gazpacho soup notwithstanding. I'm sorry, Gestapo. Anyways, overarching energy is the Ace of Pentacles with the testimony. I think, first off, the testimony was powerful. It really got the point across. And I think there's a lot of big money that's going to be worried, and a lot of wealthy people who know what they did are going to start lawyering up. There's going to be a lot of money changing hands here. And also, Jeffrey Epstein, there's a huge money trail with him. Follow that money trail, and guess what that web is going to reveal? All the little insects that were involved in this. You couple that with the women's testimony about who did what, and then you see the money going back and forth, it's going to be corroborating evidence. Also, the lawyers... one of the questions asked, sorry if I'm giving you motion sickness here. Another thing that came out during the testimony was Jeffrey Epstein linked to any intelligence organizations like the FBI, the CIA, Mossad, whatever? And the lawyer said, you know what? You can request information from the FBI, from the CIA, and such. And that'll help you with your question. And they asked, well, was he or wasn't he? And the lawyer responded, I just gave you a roadmap of what to do. Implication is, go follow that roadmap and you won't be able to avoid discovering what's going on. All the information's there. They know the information's there. It's just a matter of the reporters doing their jobs and getting that information. This seems to be the theme this week with my readings is, where are the reporters? Where's our Woodward and Bernstein? We need that type of energy from reporters to go elbows, roll up your sleeves and dig in. The information's there. Unless the big money at the top of your newspaper or TV broadcasting agency doesn't want you to do that and will squelch it. Otherwise, There's got to be a place for investigative reporting in here. Lesson to be learned is the Ace of Wands. Really powerful, lots of information, lots of power and energy that was put out there. Outcome, Eight of Wands. The women's message made it out there, and I would expect that people on the list are about to have, they're soiling their pants with what's going on here. They know the information's out there, or there's going to be a list put together with their names on it. And no amount of money and no amount of action is going to protect them. So they have to start doing stuff now to protect themselves and, maybe get while the getting is good. Whether it's hiding your money, lawyering up and getting ready to go to defend yourself. Yeah. I think they were successful in their messaging. Now, repeat question as from yesterday. Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna are, I think I'm mispronouncing her last name, my apologies, they need about a half a dozen Republicans to sign on to this end around to bypass Mike Johnson and Republican leadership to bring this issue to a vote to force the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files. Will they be successful this time around? Comer released information through the House committee, and apparently like about 97%, it was heavily redacted, 97 or so percent of it people have already seen. And that's all and it accounted for like 3% of all the Epstein documents, and that's all they want to release. Massey and Khanna want the rest of it released. Will they be successful this time around in getting past Mike Johnson to get this information released? The star card, that was one of my powerful cards underneath there. That's a great start. Ace of Swords, oh my goodness. Knight of Wands, the Strength card. Yes, they are. They absolutely they're going to get this through. I think having those women testify and telling their story and the secrets out there, it's going to get through. People are like the Nancy Mace of this world and the friends of Nancy Mace. She's going to be able to convince people. Marjorie Taylor Greene has her little circle. She's going to convince people. Lauren Boebert has her little circle. They're going to convince people. The strength is there. The plan is there. The righteousness is there. The secrets to be revealed. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. They will get it through. And I do believe they will get it through this time. That's what I asked. And I will qualify it. If they don't get it through this time, do not despair. Right now, it sure looks like they will. If they don't get it through for whatever reason, do not despair. It will get through. There is no stopping this force. No chance. They might be able to delay, but even the delay won't be that long. There's just too much. There's too much desire for people to see this. Okay. What will this do to Trump's administration once this information is out? Again, this is one of those things where, it would have been nice if Trump actually kicked the bucket over the weekend. But we want to be able to associate him with Jeffrey Epstein and everything that's going on. Because, we've already seen that Trump has acknowledged that Epstein was liked beautiful women, especially on the young side. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Trump, at his most innocent, knew what was going on and didn't do anything about it. That's his best case scenario. His buddy, he knew what his buddy was doing, and he did nothing to stop it. And according to Katie Johnson, he did a lot more than nothing. And according to the FBI, who had to put 1,000 agents and work for 6 weeks straight to redact his name 10,000 times from the Epstein report. Yeah, you think there might be something there? What will this do to the Trump administration? Goodbye, sunshine. Moving away. Getting away from this. Crossed with temperance and the magician. So they will do anything to try and prevent this report from getting out. And Trump's already threatened folks in Congress that if you vote for this, that's a vote against, that's a toxic vote against me, and I will, and you'll pay for that. So he's threatening people, that threatening folks in Congress that if they vote to put this through, that he's going to retaliate against them. Page of Pentacles, he offers the gold coin of his endorsement. But again, I think what I was asking was, what happens when this information gets out? He's going to leave. And then there's going to be damage control, because we're going to start finding out everything that happened. We're going to have the young people talking about the money, and there's going to be money links. It's going to cause chaos in the Trump administration. There's going to be investigations, committee investigations, so on and so forth. Who knew what and when they knew it. And it's going to nab a bunch of people who will then turn on other people and offer evidence for leniency. This is evil consuming itself. Evil will consume itself, and these folks will start flipping like flapjacks, trying to turn in bigger fish than themselves to get some leniency. Remember, the earliest deals get the best deals. And the higher up on the food chain, the sooner you better get in there, because at some point they don't let the higher up, they don't want to go any higher up on the food chain, and you're the one left holding the hot potato. For Carter, is this, do the revelations of the Epstein files lead to the political demise of Donald Trump? I didn't want to say just demise, but let's say the political demise of Donald Trump. Because it could lead to other type of demises too, right? But let's just focus on the political. For Carter, Strength card. 5 of Swords, 3 of Wands, Queen of Cups, 6 of Cups. I think, again, he'll try to project strength, but I just think it's more weakness than strength. This is like reversed. He would look to leave at this point. He knows the game is lost. He'd have to sneak off. He'd have to keep his mouth shut, and he'd have to sneak off because he knows he's lost. Because what do you say when all this, you've been saying for this whole time, it's all fake news, it's a witch hunt, so on and so forth, but people aren't believing you anymore. They're believing the victims. And I don't want to use the term victim, but I can't think of a better term for it. For the girls that were that had this perpetuated on them, there's no out for him. There's no good explanation. There's him leaving. That's his best defense. Of course, there will always be those who protect him, who will back him up no matter what. But I think he will become toxic at that point. Does he flee the country as a result of the release of the Epstein files and the political toxicity and fallout that comes from this. Wheel of Fortune, maybe, if his health doesn't get him first. Six of Cups, there is, again, people believing the girls, plus also him trying to call in favors. Six of Coins, trying to offer a lot, but only offering a little. Seven of Wands, trying to fight off this battle. It's like he can't wait too long. Here's the thing. His inclination is to fight, but he may not have the mental capacity or the energy to fight. But he also can't wait too long either. He's got favors that he could call in from folks. But if he thinks he can stay and fight this, he's going to lose. So could he flee? Yeah, he would have that option. Will he? That's a question of whether, this, like the Strength card, his ego. Will his ego allow him to do that? Will it allow him to leave town with his tail between his legs? Don't know the answer to that. We'll find out soon enough. Will he be alive long enough for him to do that? And I've got another reading coming up on that, as the Six Cups popped up again on that one. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.